Welcome to the discussion on the XTL Expert Trend Locator breakout trade. The Expert Trend Locator is a statistical model that can separate the major trend of any market from noise. There are three components to the XTL. The first are blue bars. These bars indicate an uptrend. The next are red bars. These bars indicate that the market is in a downtrend. The last component are the black bars. These bars indicate market noise, that there is no trend to be identified. The XTL breakout trade is a trade that we take once the trend has been identified. This is a trend following trade. Once we have a change in color, in this indication, a blue bar, we consider that our first breakout bar. We use the Fibonacci extension tool to measure the breakout bar. This calculation will add 50% of the bar to the high of the bar for our entry and 50% of the bar to the low for our initial stop. Once the buy level has been taken out without the bars being red or black, you are triggered into the trade with your initial stop at the lower Fibonacci level. The same rules apply to the XTL red breakout trade. We use our Fibonacci tool to measure the breakout bar, which will then give us our trigger level and our initial stop. Once the market breaks through the trigger level and the colors of the bars stay red and not black or blue, you will be triggered into the trade with the initial stop at the high Fibonacci level. If at any time between the breakout bar and the trigger level, the color of the bar turns black or blue, the trade is negated and you will have to wait for another breakout bar. This is the same for both an uptrend and a downtrend. If any bar in between the breakout bar and your trigger turns black or red in this example, then the trade is negated and you have to wait for another breakout bar. Now I will show you examples of each trade and how to draw the Fibonacci trigger and initial stop levels. This is an example of an XTL breakout trade in an uptrend. As you can see, the market started to trade in the black area, meaning that there is not a trend identified. This is just market noise. Our very first blue bar here is considered our first breakout trade. And since it's blue, we consider this an uptrend. The first step is to use our Fibonacci extension tool to measure this bar for our entry and initial stop. We do this by right-clicking on our Fibonacci extension tool on our toolbar. This will give us our properties for that toolbar. The values we want to use are 1.5 and negative 0.5. These values are not in here by default. You need to edit them out yourself. You can do that by selecting the text and typing negative 0.5 and 1.5. Make sure that all of the other values are turned off and that these values are turned on. Once this is done, your dialog box should look exactly like this. Click OK to save these settings. Next, left-click on the Fibonacci extension tool. This will now change your cursor to the Fibonacci extension cursor. This way you know you are actually using the tool. It's actually done in 3 separate clicks. The first click is at the very bottom of the bar. Put your cursor to the very low of the breakout bar and click once and release. Next, move your cursor to the very top of the bar and click one more time and release. The third click is done by dragging the cursor to the very bottom of the bar and moving it out to the right, keeping the 0 line at the very low of the breakout bar. You can drag it out as far as you would like. Once you have it to where you want and the zero line is at the low of the bar, left click one more time to set it in place. Now we have drawn our triggering technique, which is at $12.88, and our initial stop, which is at $11.22. What this is now telling us is that new bars come in and they exceed the price of $12.88, we're triggered into the market, only if the blue bar stays, meaning that if a red bar comes in afterwards, the trade is negated, or if a black bar comes in afterwards, the trade is negated, and in both those instances, you would need to wait for another blue breakout bar. Let's see what would happen. The next bar comes in, and it stays blue, which is good, what we want, but we have not broken above our $12.88 level. Again, another bar with no trigger. Finally, on this bar, we are triggered into the trade. Our initial stop now becomes at $11.22. Once you reach a profit target, you can either put a trailing stop on, manage it with a regression trend channel, or put on a moving average for a trailing stop. This is the XTL blue breakout trade with an identifiable uptrend. Next, we will take a look at an XTL breakout trade with a red bar, meaning a downtrend. As you can see here, the market went into a black mode on the XTL, meaning that it was just market noise. There was no identifiable trend. The first red bar that becomes available is considered our breakout bar. We do the same thing with the blue bar that we do with the red, except the way we measure it with the Fibonacci extension is slightly different. First, you right-click on the Fibonacci extension tool to make sure that you have your value set. We want 1.5 and negative 0.5. These are the same for the uptrend and the downtrend. Once you have these set correctly, click OK to continue. Next, you want to left-click on the Fibonacci extension tool and make sure that your cursor says Fib Extension. This will tell you that you're using the Fibonacci extension tool at that time. In the uptrend, we started our 3 clicks at the bottom of the bar. In the downtrend, the red breakout bar, we want to use our first click at the high of the bar. So first, put your cursor at the very high of the breakout bar and click once and release. Next, bring your cursor to the very bottom of the bar and click again and release. Now we can move our cursor to the top of the bar and drag it out to the right, keeping the zero line at the same level as the high of that bar. Once we drag it out to the right as far as we need it to, click one more time to set it into place. The downtrend is treated in the same way. As soon as the market, any red color bar, breaks below the 1.5 level, which is right at $51.05, we're triggered into the market with our initial stop at the negative 0.5 level, which is at $52.46. As long as the new bars that come in stay red and do not change to blue or black, this is still considered a valid trade. If a bar comes in blue or black before you are triggered, then the trade is negated and you have to wait for another setup, meaning another breakout bar. Let's see what happens. In this example, we are triggered on the very next bar. And of course, our initial stop now is at 52.46. And you can treat it the exact same way. Whether or not you hit a profit target, you take some of the position off, or trail it with a regression trend channel, or a moving average, or some other trailing stop that you're used to using. Thank you for viewing the XTL breakout.